Hey, what's up, everybody? So earlier today, I did a little poll to see who would we talk about today between Richard Chase and Ricky Kasso, and I think Ricky won by 20%. So we're gonna do Acid King today, and then I guess next Monday I'll do Vampire of Sacramento. But anyways, this is a very interesting story, not only because of the terrible shit that the dude did, but how his friend got completely away with it. What's up, Quantum Cat? That's what fascinates me the most about this. What's up, Obadiah Smith? Maybe next time. Fucking Chase is a crazy motherfucker. What's up, Robert Cobb? What's up, Addy Wake Up? What's up, Adam the Black Dragon? Oh, damn. The Pharaoh Reborn. What's up, Mark? What's up, Jello Putin? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Addy. It's a crazy story, but the thing that fascinates me the most is his friend, who helped him hold the guy down while he stabbed him, then, at a different date, came back and helped him bury the body, got off completely scot-free by his, super good lawyer using, the acid argument. Well, you don't know exactly what went on, do you? You're high as shit on acid. So, let's, watch this. And this is a super old one from YouTube back in the day, because the entire documentary is all broken up into little, 9 to 10 minute segments, because you could only upload, 10-minute videos at a time. What's up, Burger Boy? What's up, Vivian Gee, Stylist Ninja, Mingo, Builder Cat? Oh, damn. What's up, Efren B, Apothecary John, Bong Farter, Roland LaFleur? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why, Bong Farter. People don't talk about Richard Chase more. He's terrifying. He's a little bit scarier than Richard Ramirez, in my opinion. Oh, hell yeah, Bishop White. That's what's up. What's up, Bonobo? Alright, here we go. Let's start with the first part. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Burger Boy. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Casburgers. I don't know how that lawyer was able to get him off on that defense, but yeah, somehow the lawyer was able to be like, well, he didn't know what's going on, he was on acid.
Burger Boy became a member.
Thank you, Burger. I think we got some new emojis since the last time he was a member. Oh, absolutely, Odor Cat. Yeah, the spores aren't illegal. You can get spores, inoculate your substrates and whatnot. Oh, absolutely, Bishop. Yeah, it has Stand By Me connotations where he's like, you want to see a dead body in the woods? I killed him. It's fucking terrifying.
An affluent suburb. An unlikely place for a horrifying murder.
And this is probably going to be really crappy quality, because this is from 15 years ago on YouTube, uploaded in little 10-minute segments. So I'm sure that it's going to look real bad. Oh yeah, exactly, Bishop. Thought he saw a lion in the woods, and then the lawyer was like, oh, didn't you hear that a lion escaped from the circus? And so they were all like, what the fuck? And he used that in his argument somehow. Oh, thank you, Burger. Hell yeah, thank you.
I knew the kid was gonna get killed, and I didn't stop it.
That was the guy who got off. Let's see.
Killed, and I did.
That guy right there. He's the one whose parents were rich, and he had a good ass lawyer and got him off scot-free.
I didn't stop it.
By 1984, teen violence, along with teen drug use, began
Hell yeah, SH.
to appear in towns all across America. No town
Oh, absolutely, Bishop. Yeah, Chase was psychotic and Richard Ramirez was a psychopath. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Chase is a little bit like more scary to me because of how just out there he really is, as opposed to just being evil. I mean, he was still evil in his own right, but he was like bizarre.
Town was too small. And for 4 young lives, one night of malice and misfortune would forever change their community and shock the nation.
Physically, it was the worst crime I've ever seen.
Media around the world reported Satan in the suburbs of New York City.
These kids had engaged in some pretty bizarre behavior with their satanic cultism.
Which movie are you talking about? Are you talking about the Acid King or Satan in the Suburbs? Because this is like the documentary that came out around the same time that Satan in the Suburbs movie came out. Oh, crazy click clack. That's crazy. What's up, Vlad?
Teenagers out of control.
The amount of drugs was really, truly extraordinary.
And no one to blame but the devil himself.
A lot of people didn't look at this murder and take it as a wake-up call. Say, we have a problem here.
Hell yeah, Brandon. What's up, tubes? I'm releasing my new album called Satan in the Suburbs. Yes, what's up? I could totally see Cobra making an album called Satan in the Suburbs.
It's a typical summer night in a typical American suburb.
Oh, hell yeah, Ball
4
Quarter.
teenage kids are just killing time in their usual way
Hell yeah, Sir Link.
by slipping into the woods to do some drugs. The 4 had been here before. It was one of their favorite spots to sit around and do absolutely nothing. But this night was somehow different from all others. This time, it was different.
There was 3 crows flying all around us, and Ricky did say out at that time that Satan's with us.
Damn false meth. Yeah, the Boglum King. Goddamn. And yeah, Mark, they always want to blame heavy metal.
I'm high.
But I mean, I understand a little bit, in the slightest bit. They should blame themselves, the parents and everything. But I kind of see where they're coming from. Dude just completely surrounded himself with, like, macabre. So, you know, they're like, oh, damn, it's the music. Like, they didn't really have much of anything. They're still, like, thinking about, like, damn, the Beatles influenced all these goddamn hippies. Now music is influencing a bunch of Satanists. So, you know.
High at the time, around 10 hits of acid, so I was like, yeah, he is, whatever.
Biff, it's like an 80s Satanic Panic anti-drug thing. Oh, hell yeah, Bishop.
Ricky was 17-year-old Ricky Kasso, no stranger to trouble. He had been busted for small-scale burglaries and other petty crimes.
What's up, BB62?
Known for his drug dealing and devotion to satanic rituals, Ricky's evening was about to get a whole lot more interesting. Lately, his problem was his so-called friend, Gary Lowers.
You're trying to find altars in the woods, SH? I might have, in my lifetime, set up weird-looking stuff in the woods for other people to find, just as like a joke and shit. Once I went to this old graveyard and I left like some bones like tied in a cross and shit. And years later, there are these stupid-ass like paranormal investigators on Facebook posting pictures of when they went to that graveyard to look for stuff and they found my bald cross and were just like, oh my god, so scared of it and shit. It's the only time I've ever had confirmation that someone found the bullshit I left in the woods. I just thought it was funny, you know, like, damn, I'm gonna leave like funny bullshit in the woods and people will find it and get scared.
Word was he had stolen 10 bags of angel dust from Ricky. Ricky was out to get him.
And there we go. There's where the crime comes from. Dude stole 3 bags of angel dust from him. Everything else is just added onto it and like to like build it up to make it more into something than it is. When it really comes down to it, it's a drug crime. Like how like most all the weirdo out there like Manson murders and shit turn out to be. It's usually just drugs when it comes down to it. What's up, Ledgeview? No, I'm serious about that, yeah. I wish I could fucking find those pictures of the people like holding it, being scared of it and shit.
The night began like any other night in the woods. The 4 friends did what came naturally.
Oh, hell yeah, greater stuff. Probably. If you found a possum shrine, then probably.
They got high on drugs. Enjoyed the nighttime sky. And got high some more. But what began as a party quickly turned into a nightmare.
Oh yeah, Purple.
I knew exactly what was going on, and I didn't stop it.
Four had entered the woods that night, but only 3 had come out. Whatever happened was to be a secret, but not for long. 2 weeks passed, but no one seemed to miss Gary Lauwers. Not his...
Yeah, Sparky, essentially. There was already like a little bit of rumbling of Satanic Panic beforehand, but this is the guy who really kicked it the fuck off.
friends. Certainly not the police. Not even his parents.
Hell yeah, Builder Cat.
After all, Gary was a frequent runaway. From the outside, Gary's hometown looked so serene, but it was no ordinary place. His friends were no ordinary kids, and they had committed no ordinary crime. An eerie calm settled over the 3...
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, the guy that they killed, like, nobody, like, missed him. He was, like, going and telling people, and, like, taking, like, kids to see him. That's the creepiest part.
Remaining friends. Gary was gone, but in death, Ricky found him more interesting than ever. From the looks of it, he felt no remorse.
What's up, Lewis? Yeah, exactly, SH. I've never really heard anything good about Angel Dust either. Fucking deliriance. Disassociative deliriance is like, oh no, those will fuck you up.
And instead of a compulsion to confess, Ricky felt the need to share his deed with his friends. He led tours to the body. Their friends looked on with morbid curiosity as maggots colonized the remains.
Oh, God damn, the narrator didn't have to go that hard. Like, fuck, man. What was that? They did what now? God damn, that was intense.
He led tours to the body. Their friends looked on with morbid curiosity as maggots colonized the remains.
Damn.
Ricky seemed satisfied with his work.
What's up, Rusty?
And proud to show it off. In those 2 weeks, a dozen people saw what was left of Gary Lauwers, but no...
Shit, River's Edge? I feel like maybe something like that. I feel like I might have heard about something like that. It possibly is. And yeah, I'm pretty sure My Sweet Satan is. I'm pretty sure. Oh, hell yeah, Frostmeth, exactly. It's like Stand By Me, except they're the murderers taking people to go see it.
one breathed a word of it. Maybe they thought Ricky would kill them too. Located just an hour and a half outside of New York City, the predominantly white upper-middle-class suburban town of Northport, New York, appealed to parents looking for good schools and clean living.
What? Clean living?
Problem was,
why did they have to associate, like, primarily white with clean living? Like, what? That was that, like, slightly a little, like, eh? Was that?
Their kids were bored. And in the summer of 1984, the devil made work for idle hands. After about a week, Ricky lost interest in his departed friend. He and Jimmy decided to close the show and bury him in a shallow grave.
Okay, how did Jimmy get off the hook? I could understand maybe if all he did was that one night with like the stabbing and the killing and they were all tripping out. But how does he get off going back weeks later and helping the guy bury him? That's like, you know, accessory after the fact and shit. I don't get it. Like, how does he get off on that one? You know, like, still charge him with that shit. God damn. Dude knew what he was doing when he went back to help him bury him.
And when we went to kick it in the grave that we dug, the head actually fell off. I mean, it fell off.
With Gary buried,
God damn right, Abraham Lincoln.
the thrill of their act began to fade. Boredom threatened to settle in once again. So Jimmy and Ricky looked forward to their next adventure.
Oh, hell yeah, kitty.
They left Northport and headed for California. They planned to survive by selling drugs. The next day, local police received an anonymous call. A young woman said she knew where Gary Lauwers was buried. She said she knew who killed him. Only problem was the police didn't know that anybody named
Hell yeah, Bishop. Absolutely. Jimmy big snitching. I don't know. I think Jimmy went off with him, and it was just someone else, one of the people they took on the tour, the murder tour.
Gary Lauwers was even missing. They thought it was a crank call. When the officer pressed the caller for her name, she nervously hung up. Ricky and Jimmy were having the time of their lives.
Traveling Beverly Hillbilly style out to California, rotting in a chair in the back of a truck. What's up, Chonky? What's up, Birdie? Right? Yeah, he's doing interviews. He's done like several interviews, Mark. It's crazy.
But they had completed only 160 miles of their cross-country odyssey when it was time to stop and raise more money.
And when we got up there, we sold some mescaline real quick, and we bought a car for $50 of junker.
Neither one of them had an inkling of what was going on back home. The anonymous call was verified, and an investigation began. Police were led to a wooded area just on the outskirts of town.
The area in question was
Hell yeah, IDK. It is certainly something else. That's the truth.
fairly big, as a wooded area and kind of tough to deal with. We brought 4 canine units with us. We sent 2 dogs in at a time.
Oh, goddamn Frostman. Absolutely, yeah. That's what's gonna happen. Well, Chance is missing? Oh, well. People, like, take a tour. Marty's like, come on, guys. Want to see Chance's dead body? Let's go out into the woods behind Summit Lake and look at it.
One dog did a hit, found what they considered to be a body.
Yeah, they say mescaline, but you know this was just like fucking bad acid cut with speed, angel dust, like formaldehyde, all sorts of like probably bad shit. And it probably wasn't actual mescaline.
Police soon came upon a shocking discovery.
Oh, hell yeah, Crookmaster. Thanks for hanging out.
So we walked over to where the dogs had hit, and we examined it very carefully and observed a blood-soaked scalp.
Right, Abraham
The
Lincoln?
remains of Lauer's shallow grave removed all doubt about the legitimacy of the mysterious phone call. A frantic search was on for the killers. Meanwhile, the unsuspecting duo decided to head back home.
Oh shit, strychnine? Yeah, probably like strychnine in it. Or just adrenochrome. Damn, Ricky was really satanic and he really had the hookups.
They had lost interest in their road trip and wanted to party with their friends on the 4th of July.
Yeah, Mark.
We went downtown Northport, and we tripped out, and Ricky was handing out mescaline to people, and we were all getting high and everything.
When the party was over, Jimmy and Ricky went back to their car to get some sleep. Early the next morning, the police received a report of a suspicious vehicle. A lone officer responded. To his surprise, the suspects were helplessly asleep inside, without a care in the world. But having seen what these kids had done, he took no chances.
I don't understand why they came back, you know? They had to come back to, like, re-up. They're like, damn, we already did all that mescaline and angel dust and shit that we was gonna take with us to California. Guess we gotta go back. Like, why would you go back? That part, like, that doesn't make any sense.
And called for backup. Authorities knew the pair could be capable of anything, especially if they were high on drugs.
Mingo,
But having seen what these kids...
I'll do another one soon. I'm just, you know, on Mondays I usually do, like, rabbit hole things, but, the ones I was gonna do were kind of boring, so I was like, let's do a little bit of true crime. So I'm doing a couple of, like, crazy-ass true crime ones first. Yeah, exactly, Sirley. Criminal masterminds, absolutely.
kids had done, he took no chances and called for backup. Authorities knew the pair could be capable of anything, especially if they were high on drugs.
We approached the car. There's about 18 officers. Some uniforms, some plain clothes. We have our weapons drawn. We have no idea what kind of reaction we're going to get. We open the doors. They're sound asleep.
Out of the window! Hell yeah, Sparky. Absolutely. I Drink Your Blood. I watched I Drink Your Blood at the drive-in theater in like 2020. At the drive-in that's like, I don't know, about an hour or something away from here. There was Evil Dead and I Drink Your Blood, like double feature. And that was so much fun.
I was like more dumbed out because I was still basically high from the night before. And
right, Brandon?
I was surprised. I didn't even know that they were onto us.
Like his friend Jimmy, Ricky Kasso also was groggy when the police arrested him. But
What's up?
that soon passed.
What's up, Agent Alex?
He started to wake up, and as he woke up, he went back to his normal, cocky, regular self.
Ricky told police he knew nothing about Gary Lauwers and that he hadn't seen him in some time. He and Jimmy were taken to the station where they gave their statements. This time, Ricky confessed.
It was
Shit. So this happened like around in this point of time in the year. So if he's getting arrested and it's July 6th, and the dude's been dead for like a couple of weeks. It was around this time, or around this time in June, when he killed the guy.
a little frightening that he was almost proud of it.
Oh goddamn right, Obadiah. Holy shit. Oh hell yes, Sir Link. I'm pretty sure I've seen that one. What's up, Shotgun Chris? Oh hell yeah, C-13. All right, good thing the dudes don't look strung out and shady. Oh my god.
About it. He boasted about it. Ricky, in the statement he gave, claimed that as he was killing Gary, he heard a crow caw, and that based on that, he knew that the devil was pleased. It was a frightening thing to us to hear him talk like that, and just to dismiss this murder as nothing.
Jimmy, too, was locked up. But the spotlight remained on Ricky and his satanic confession. That evening, the Suffolk County Police Department...
Damn, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, yeah. Can't be doing that if you're like, you know, having to take some food because you're like starving and you're living on the street. You're fucking like having to survive like Aladdin by like getting apples and eating them and stuff. You gotta just like hit up places that you're not gonna go back to. except, you know, once a season. You know, you go there during the spring, then you go there during late summer, and go there during winter, maybe.
Issued a press release. It said that Ricky Kasso was a member of a satanic cult and worships and partakes in rituals honoring the devil. It also said that he cut out the victim's eyes and that he claimed the devil had ordered him to kill Gary Lauwers.
Wow, they really are like stretching the term cult. They're really stretching it. They wanted, I don't know, is it just like the media? They knew that it's going to be a big media sensation. People will buy more newspapers. It'll be all over the like news. Or was there really some kind of weird agenda to like scare people with like Satan? Oh, absolutely, Casburgers. Absolutely. Hell yeah, C-13, damn long hairs. Yeah. I don't know, Rusty, because they're edgy, that's why. They want it to be like scaring people. They want them to be like, oh, cause panic and fear and shit. That's pretty much the only reason. They get makes them sound cool.
A media firestorm was ignited. Satan had come to Suburbia, and the event was not to be missed. News of the murder spread around the world.
His eyes were cut out in what county police say was a satanic, ritualistic...
about a devil-worshipping cult of
Victim had been
teenagers.
stabbed repeatedly, and his eyes
One of the
gouged out.
suspects, 17-year-old
Ritual murder.
Police are searching for more cult members.
Alarmed by the frenzy of publicity, Jimmy feared Ricky might do something drastic.
He's seen himself.
Oh yeah, yes, Sparky. He did. Like, he was like, say that you love Satan. And like, beforehand they cut off his hair. They like, let's throw your hair in the fire. It was like some kind of weird, like stupid high schooler dumbass pretending to do Satanism ritual. They cut off his hair, they tossed it in the fire, and then it was like his shirt or something, like burn your shirt. And so they burnt his shirt, and then they stabbed him and killed him.
On the news that night, and everyone in the gallery knew he was arrested for Satanism. I guess it made him a little more scared.
Yeah, maybe, Sarah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they were just trying to sell shit, you know, like, oh, this is sensational right now. We can sell it.
Because, you know, he didn't know what people would think in prison.
The victim's father spoke out, trying to distance his son from Satanists like Ricky.
My son was not involved in any drugs, and he was fearful of this kid, Ricky Kasso, because he had been acquainted with him, maybe at a previous occasion.
Oh, hell yeah, I'll probably carry John. They should have gotten those $100 lawyers instead of like, look at that, the dude who got killed, his dad's out there playing tennis and shit. You know they got money. He's just like casually playing fucking tennis. So yeah, this neighborhood is full of like rich people probably.
From school and apparently also after school. So.
What's up, Free the People? Mark, I think that's the guy whose son got killed, as opposed to the one who did the killing. But he was like, my son was not in drugs, but he obviously was. He was hanging out with fucking a guy known as the Acid King.
He was fearful of him, and it is my belief that he was abducted, that they were just waiting for him. They saw.
Oh yeah, Birdie. I can't remember the kid's name, but they made that Tom Hanks Mazes and Monsters movie kind of based on him, where he like, kid went missing, he was playing Dungeons and Dragons. Did he go exploring the old tunnels? Ooh, Satanism. And then it turned out like the kid was gay or something. And yeah, he was gonna like maybe kill himself because he was gay. It had nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons.
My son as their victim that they needed, and abducted him somehow or other.
McMillan Elementary. Is that the place where they said all of those, like, shit was going on, like satanic rituals, and they would flush them down the toilet into a secret cave where shit would happen? I think they were drugging the kids, and I think maybe somebody was diddling the kids, but that whole like flush you down the toilet reminds me of this weird like DOS game from back in the day where you wear these robes and you go around. It's like maybe like Manhunter or something like that. I forget. But you're a dude in this robe and you're going around like futuristic New York, and there's a part where you have to like flush yourself down the toilet into a secret cave, and the game has a lot of strong satanic imagery and shit. And for some reason, I feel like that definitely is that game that one of the kids is misremembering, or like telling one of the other kids like, yeah, and then you get flushed down the toilet, like describing like his brother play it or something, and somehow that shit got mixed up in with it.
The pressure was on.
Goddamn right, Brandon. What's up, Tibbo? Yeah, he also stole 10 bags of acid.
That night, having spent less than 48 hours in jail, Ricky Kasso hanged himself in his cell.
What a big old pussy, right? Like 48 hours. He didn't even wait to get to meet Big Bubba. He was like in the cell by himself the entire time. And he was just like, well, I'm just gonna kill myself. Goddamn pussy. Stabbing a motherfucker, but then can't even like handle it when he's about to get thrown into the jail.
Leaving behind his best friend, Jimmy Troiano, to stand trial.
Yeah, Free the People. Yeah, that's like the one where they had tunnels under the school and stuff.
For murder. Of the original.
Sparky2Ben subscribed for more madness.
Thank you. Thank you, Sparky2Ben. I appreciate you hanging out and watching this stuff with us. Right? Yeah, he ejected the disc at the main menu. Absolutely followed the 11th. Yeah, he's fucking pussy.
Original gang of 4. 2 were now dead. 1 was behind bars, and the 4th had agreed to testify in return for immunity. No one doubted that Jimmy had been a party to the murder, and everyone thought this would be an open and shut case. Northport, New York was a quaint little town with a terrible secret.
Oh yeah, Free the People.
The brutal murder stripped bare its peaceful facade. Now, 2 of its children were dead. 1 by his own hand, another at the hands of his friends. That left 2 people to tell what happened in the woods that night. Jimmy Troiano and Albert Quinones, the 4th youth present during the killing that night.
Damn.
And Albert in the woods that night.
This motherfucker wearing a tie-dye t-shirt with a radioactive symbol on it.
Jimmy Troiano. And
or this motherfucker wearing a suit to go to court. Oh, jeez. I still can't believe they, like, let the motherfucker off.
Albert Quinones, the 4th youth present during the killing that night.
Yeah, Brandon.
Quinones was granted immunity in exchange for his testimony. That left Jimmy Troiano as the...
Hell yeah, follow the 11th. Whenever Rax, like, sends in the authorities to arrest us all for making fun of him, we all have to, like, sit in jail together.
Sole defendant in a criminal trial facing a charge of murder. As the trial began, prosecutors prepared for what seemed like an open and shut case.
I was fully confident that we would get a conviction because I knew that I had a signed statement of the defendant confessing, as well as...
Oh, hell yeah, he got the good lawyer that told him to dress up. Hell yeah, Brandon. What's up, Local Cooking?
An eyewitness that was present at the crime scene and would point to Mr. Troiano as a participant in the murder.
But the prosecution's confidence was a bit premature. Jimmy's attorney, Eric Nyberg, was famous for his successful defense in hundreds of criminal trials. Despite the overwhelming odds...
What does that mean, that he's super rich and he bribes people? He's successful. He's super successful at defending criminals.
He had a plan.
What's up, Soul Reaper?
When I first met Jimmy Triano, I sat down with him, obviously, and discussed the facts of the case, and he gave me a very strong and believable story. When I arranged a second meeting with...
I don't think they ever found the tunnels, Abraham Lincoln. Like, I remember they found, like, some old trash pits or something where people had put trash, but I don't think they ever actually found any tunnels under the school. That's why I think it was that video game that, like, one of the kids remembered or told one of the other kids, and they were talking about the game, you know? And then somehow that got mixed in with their confessions and shit. Ooh, it was a big old thunderclap. Oh, it's all like spooky and stormy here, watching this spooky Satan show.
With Jimmy, I sat down and he gave me a very strong and believable story. Of course, it had nothing to do with the first story.
Oh, hell yeah, Brandon.
He did this again a third time. I then decided I was going to take him back to the scene of the crime. And while we were standing there, he was taking me through it, and this was a fourth and very believable story. And I turned to him and I said, Jim...
God damn, Frostman. Pretty much, that's what the lawyer's doing.
This is the fourth story you've given me. It's totally different than the others. And he turned to me and he said, Mr. Nyberg, when the trees are melting and the stars are racing across the sky, it's very hard to remember what happened. And it was at that moment that I realized how I was going to defend this case.
While Nyberg sat back and built his defense, the prosecution introduced its secret weapon, Albert Quinones.
He was the only one that was available to the prosecution that we were aware of that was actually present during the attack and during the murder itself.
Quinones was no saint himself, and the police knew him well. But he was the prosecution's star.
Hell yeah, Left 4 Dead. And Brandon, yeah, I know, it's gonna be like a whole week of like storming and shit. Hell yeah, AI. Maybe if I get too scared, of Satan and shit my pants, I might blame it on the storm.
The witness. Problem was, he was the prosecution's only eyewitness. In his initial statement to police,
oh, hell yeah,
Quinones
Birdie.
told prosecutors that Jimmy held Gary down while Ricky repeatedly plunged the knife into him. Forensic lab analysis also seemed to support this sequence of events.
Something like 22 stabbing or cutting type wounds.
Good Lord.
Going up and down the back.
It's a lot. I mean, there have been way more. I know there's been tons and tons more when people are crazy. But 22 is a lot. Like, you gotta be kind of into it to continue 22 fucking times.
The skull injuries were in the facial area. Something like 7 or 8 wounds there. One was a little lower down just above the upper teeth, but mostly they were in the region of the left eye.
Hell yeah, fall.
This pattern of wounds certainly would be what you'd expect if someone were being held immobile and then someone else were doing the stabbing, who's right there just going up and down.
But Quinones wasn't the ideal prosecution witness.
Oh, shit.
Like the rest
Don't
of
do
the
that.
boys that night, he admitted to taking at least 10 hits of LSD prior to the murder.
God damn.
That raised a serious question. Were his recollections valid? Jimmy's lawyer...
Yeah, 22 is overkill, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, Brandon, it's crazy. Twinkie or acid defense? Hell yeah, Obadiah. Yeah, exactly, Brandon. Fucking hated him. There was like passion behind that. Maybe they were secretly gay together.
Didn't think so. He realized his best defense was a poor witness for the offense.
My defense strategy was that what Mr. Quinones was going to say on the stand, and in fact what my client had given statements about, was unreliable. Their use and abuse of LSD had affected their ability to recognize and relate reality, and their testimony was just not going to be believed.
When Quinones took the stand, Nyberg went to work.
God
There
damn,
was,
Paul. Absolutely.
testimony from him that he had seen a lion in the woods. Now, nobody believed there was a...
Oh my god, yeah, false meth, that's so crazy. 97 times. It's insane. You're completely, like, insane if you can do that. Like, holy shit.
A lion in the woods. But I said to Mr. Quinones, Mr. Quinones, was there a lion in the woods? And he said, absolutely not. Then I said to him, but didn't you hear that there was a circus in town and a lion escaped from that? He said, you mean the lion was really there?
Quinones' own words had mauled his credibility.
What's up, David? It's about a guy in the 80s who killed his friend over angel dust, and then it exploded and turned into a big satanic panic. But this guy gets off. This guy gets off on the acid defense. Maybe not him, but whoever it is. I don't think it's the guy they're showing right now. I think that's his friend who was with him. Oh, free the people. Possibly. That's the only thing that's, like, keeping him from, like, coming out as Sally. He's like, I don't want to disappoint Sally. Right, Fall of the 11th? To mauled his credibility.
On the stand, things went from bad to worse. He revealed he was more than just an unreliable witness.
On cross-examination for the first time, he admitted that, in fact, just prior to the killing, he had taken part in an attack on the victim where he kicked and punched the victim along with Casso and Triano.
And just when it looked as if things couldn't get any worse for the prosecution, they did. Quinones totally contradicted his prior statements to police. He now testified that he was positive that Jimmy never chased or held the victim down during the fatal stabbing.
Yeah, bone farter. He would. Absolutely, he would dress up in Sally's skin and, like, parade around the house. Oh, you can't be online anymore, Cyrax. Like, talking, like, pretending to be her and shit. He would totally pull an Ed Gein.
Despite the conflicting testimony of his star...
David, no, I've done some other ones. I've done one about... Well, the first ones I did were about people on YouTube covering killers and just being, like, way too obsessed. Like a guy who obsesses over knowing the Zodiac's identity, and some, like, Manson people who are, like, way obsessed. But I did the, Metamores cult last week.
Our witness, the prosecution remained optimistic about their chances for success.
There comes a point at the end of the case when the judge asks both attorneys, do you want a down charge? Do you want something less charged to the jury, such as manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide? And myself and the homicide squad took the position that it was murder or it was nothing.
In what was perhaps a twist on the tale of good versus evil, Eric Nyberg made his closing statement to the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen, I humbly and respectfully submit that only God Almighty knows or will ever know what happened that night.
What's up, Shadow?
That if Jimmy Triano or Albert Quinones deserve to be punished, it is the Almighty who must make that decision.
After 3 tense days of deliberations, the jury returned with a verdict in the so-called Satan trial. For the second-degree murder of Gary Lauwers, Jimmy Triano was declared not guilty. As quickly...
But what about helping hide the body? Come on, why didn't they charge him with helping hiding the body and shit? Come on.
As it began, it was all over. Outraged and confused, the town struggled to understand what it...
Shit, he might be wearing, like, Dead Gay Bill's skin or something, you know? Who fucking knows? I don't think I've ever really seen a picture of him.
Just happened.
I was surprised by the decision of the jury. I didn't understand it. We thought it was a pretty sure thing.
Drugs had been indirectly responsible for taking Gary Lauwers' life, and now their effect on the human mind was directly responsible for the trial's outcome. For many, it seemed that Satan was alive and well in Northport. In his name, the town had suffered one brutal murder, one suicide.
What's up, Robert? OJ didn't do it? I think it was OJ's son who did it. I think OJ's son was like mad at like his mom and shit and fucking killed her boyfriend. And then OJ showed up and was like, oh God, I gotta hide this so you don't go to jail. And then, you know, all that other shit happened. That's why he was like driving real slow. It's to like distract everybody. Like, oh look, there's OJ, while his son was like hiding evidence or something.
And now the court decided that no one was responsible. Except maybe...
Hell yeah, I'm following the 11th, right? If a man isn't free to help bury a body, when is he truly free?
For the devil himself.
In nomine Dei nostri Satanas Luciferi excelsi.
Look at those fucking nerds. Goddamn Satan nerds. But yeah, right? That's what they want to do. They want to charge Satan with the murder. Or put you on trial, Satan. It's just like a rock album. They just stick it up there. A Slayer album's responsible.
In the name of Satan, the ruler.
A dark force had descended upon the village of Northport, causing Gary Lauer's brutal murder.
Really? He said that the son did it, False Meth? Like, there's a little bit of evidence to, like, back that up, and I think, like, that was the last conspiracy documentary type thing that I watched. I was like, oh, that makes sense. That makes fucking sense.
Crime went unnoticed and unreported, and ultimately, it went unpunished.
What's up, SWF and gasoline boots? But hell yeah, real friends help you move bodies. That's what's up.
Ricky Kasso said the dark force was the devil himself. Black birds that night told him that Satan blessed his crime. And Ricky, to honor his master, told his victim to declare his love for Satan. The Satan connection had quickly taken on a life of its own. The murder was seen as a ritual sacrifice.
Oh my God.
But many considered it just the tip of the iceberg.
The whole idea of Satan worship in a suburb being conducted under the nose.
Exactly, free the people. Or even the fact that, like, no one was watching him. He was like a latchkey kid. Just do whatever he wants to. Didn't have any sort of, like, parental, like, guidance in his life at that point in time. You know, his parents were too busy being, like, rich, like, yuppies in New York and shit. And just like, yeah, just do whatever you want to. Yeah, that's really where it comes from, honestly.
Nose of adults by their own children was truly horrific for many people.
Hell yeah, Brandon.
Ricky became fascinated with Satan in an unlikely place, the Northport Public Library.
Oh, did he say just the tip?
Ricky became fascinated with Satan in an unlikely place, the Northport Public...
Oh shit, let's go back.
It's by the
tip of the iceberg, a ritual sacrifice. But many considered it just the tip.
Yeah, just the tip.
The whole idea of Satan worship in a suburb being conducted under the nose of adults by their own children was truly horrific for many people.
Ricky became fascinated with Satan in an unlikely place, the Northport Public Library. Ricky wandered in one day and found himself drawn to some books.
Goddamn, what was it? The fucking Satanic Bible, LaVey and shit. Goddamn stupid ass Anton LaVey hanging out with fucking Sammy Davis Jr. and shit. Jade Mansfield and all that fucking shit. That's who's inspiring you. Goddamn.
It turned out to be books on Satanism. It was as if everything within those pages...
God, Rex said he's half Christian and half Wiccan. God, Wiccans suck too. Wiccans are so stupid. I forget. Oh God, I'm trying to remember what it was. Some crazy Christian once said Wiccan stood for like Witches International Covens Council Association or some shit like that. Hell yeah, 11. God, Satanism by Revlon. Oh, hell yeah, 11.
Was already inside his head.
I think it was a progression with Ricky with Satanism. He thought it was interesting, and then it got more intriguing to him. I remember times walking down the street, and he would walk by certain places and say, "Hail Satan."
Ricky worshipped Satan in his own way, although formalized practice has been around for centuries. The Church of Satan, located in New York City, purports to have several hundred thousand.
What the fuck? Located in New York City? It started in San Francisco. Maybe they're talking about fucking Aquinos. Goddamn thick-ass eyebrow Michael Aquinos. Hey! I'm definitely not a fucking CIA asset. I definitely or like a fucking general in the Navy and infiltrating Anton LaVey's cult. Totally not.
1,000 members worldwide.
The attraction of Satanism is that it's the first religion in the history of the Western world to accept man as he really is. He's a carnal animal, a beast, and it is something to be exercised, not exorcised.
To its followers, Satanism is about celebrating man, not worshiping the devil.
Satan, thy strength is mine. Drink in honor of your true nature.
Satanists claim they don't even believe in the devil per se.
In nomine Dei nostri Satanas Luciferi excelsi.
Satan as a word has significance in many different contexts. In a Christian context,
they're fucking LARPing. They just fucking goddamn LARPing around like we are Satanists. Let us perform our rituals. God damn.
It's one of absolute evil and opposition to their God who represents absolute good.
Hell yeah,
To a
11.
Satanist, Satan means adversary or opposer, which is the original meaning of the word. And we are the opposers of all who adversary to their God who represents absolute good. To a Satanist, Satan means adversary or opposer.
Or opposer. Satan is a poser. Oh. Why is he wearing the fucking little priest shit? Come on, man. That's so stupid. Wearing the goddamn little priest collar. I'm a priest of Satan. What the fuck? Get out of here with that shit.
Which is the original meaning of the word. And we are the opposers of all who would try to make man spiritual rather than carnal.
To those who have seen the effects of Satanism...
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, original Church of Satan, COS. Fuck, TST. Fuck TST. Tried to sue Sabrina over a goddamn Baphomet thing. Like, they don't own fucking Baphomet, you goddamn assholes. Like, you know, what was his name? Leviticus. Levi Eliphas or whatever is the fucking dude who, like, drew that shit up. Fuck TST.
Firsthand, it's not quite that harmless.
For someone to say that Satanism or worship of the devil is something good is absolutely preposterous. Because the devil is evil incarnate, and Satanism, the worship or the honoring of Satan, is honoring not anything good, but everything that's wrong, everything that's evil.
Ricky Kasso needed something to believe in. Satan provided a degree of moral freedom irresistible to an aimless young kid.
Hell yeah, aware, absolutely. Yeah, Fall of the 11th. Yeah, it was the new Netflix show, Sabrina. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I never watched a fucking episode of that shit. But in it, they had a Baphomet that, okay, it didn't have boobs, like how TST's Baphomet doesn't have boobs. That completely changes the meaning of the goddamn statue to begin with. And it had, like, those kids around it. And so they were like, this looks too close to our Baphomet. We're gonna try to sue you. It's just so stupid.
Living on his own, making his own rules.
The attraction to satanic activity, the attraction to the devil, basically comes down to power. The devil will come and promise great power to anyone who follows him. And in doing that, the person doesn't know.
Holy shit. Okay, real quick. Did anyone ever watch that fucking weird-ass movie that like a LaVeyan daughter or granddaughter or somebody like that made called Vomit Slaughter Dolls? It used to be on Netflix years ago, and it literally was just her puking for like 90 minutes. It was fucking gross and disgusting. There was no goddamn plot, no point, or anything. It was just her like sticking her hands down her throat and making herself throw up. And it was on fucking Netflix.
The price he's going to have to pay.
I love you, Satan.
Ricky used Satanism to pull a collection of Northport's disaffected youth into his circle.
Hell yeah, free the people. Yeah, it was gross as fuck. I watched it like once. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is gross. There's no value to this whatsoever. This is for disgusting weirdos to whack off to.
The kids went along for the ride because Ricky supplied the drugs that made it seem worthwhile. But Ricky's brand of Satanism came not from the tenets of organized Satanists, but from the world of music videos. Ever since Charles Manson touted the influence of the Beatles' Helter Skelter in 1969, rock music and Satanism have celebrated a marriage made in hell.
Oh, okay, yeah, because of Manson and listening to the Beatles, and not like that cool European proto-metal, like, occult influence from, like, Witchcraft and Black Widow. Those bands are pretty cool. Oh, of course I've seen I Spit on Your Grave. Absolutely love cow cooking. I was like, that's a classic. Oh, hell yeah, 11th. Goddamn feed Cove some microdots. Oh, absolutely IDK. It's fucking weird. And yeah, Gasoline Boots. That's about what Netflix original content is like now. Yeah, just like vomiting up a bunch of bullshit. Hell yeah, Sacco. Witchfinder General? Hell yeah. I've never seen the remake of I Spit on Your Grave, but I've definitely seen the original one.
And while Manson sought his inspiration in rock and roll took a page from Manson. Heavy metal music thrived on death imagery and, ultimately, satanic references. Real Satanists couldn't compare with the new breed of recording artists. For a generation raised on music videos that projected heavy metal imagery, Satan struck a chord with a small number of teenagers across the country. Satanism was a quick and scary-sounding buzzword. Satan had polished up his image and gone mainstream to preach platitudes at the church of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. The kids, with nothing else to do with their time, bought it.
Extreme was exemplified by Satanism and 666 and burning crosses in your arms. And when they latched onto that, they really...
Burning crosses? Then he said in your arms, so like branding yourself. All right. What? What about burning crosses? What are you doing?
And burning crosses in your arms. And when they latched onto that, they really tried to, take it to the extreme. They like to go around telling people, they'd say, Satan's my man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Their belief in Satan
hell yeah, Shiloh.
Was no more real than those acts on TV. Ricky certainly spoke often of Satan, but no one ever saw him involved in satanic rituals or animal sacrifices. Satan became Ricky's scapegoat, and the news media ate it up.
The press release alluded to the satanic cult. The satanic cult never existed. There was some misinformation went out.
What's up, Vi? Hell yeah.
Inaccurate information. But you can't stop the press.
A cult of teenage
Hell yeah, Shiloh. That's pretty good.
Urban Satan worshippers became a convenient way to frame an otherwise unmotivated and gruesome crime, even if it wasn't necessarily true. For as much as the kids said they loved Satan, the press loved Satan even more.
The press release that went out caused a frenzy which I've never seen or have seen since. We were completely unprepared for it.
What's up, 2-Cup?
In truth, there was no satanic cult in Northport. Evil dwelled here, but in the form of drugs and lack of adult supervision, and a youth culture bombarded with satanic images from the media. Satan was merely a symptom, not the cause of what went so terribly wrong.
Oh, hell yeah. All the way. Absolutely.
Here. As a youngster, Ricky showed no indication that he'd be a troubled teen. But by the age of 11, he began smoking marijuana. His total transformation would take a few more years.
When I first met...
Pickles Aplenty subscribed for more madness.
Thank you. Thank you, Pickles Aplenty. Hell yeah, thanks for hanging out and watching this with us.
That Ricky, he was, I guess, was around 7th or 8th grade, and to me, he was a pretty quiet guy.
Oh hell yeah, those dark after-school specials. Some of them were pretty fucking dark and shit.
You know, short hair, pretty clean cut, just not an imposing person, just a quiet, decent-looking guy.
As he approached adolescence, Ricky struggled to find out who he was, what he was good at, and how he could stand out from the crowd. He was 13.
You're right. Yeah, they always gotta be like, he started smoking marijuana. Always gotta like try to like blame the marijuana at one point or another. Not the fucking PCP angel dust shit.
Teen and on the football team when he met his best friend, Jimmy Triano. Though Ricky's interest in football waned, his friendship with Jimmy grew. Because he was not scholastically, athletically, nor socially talented, Ricky dropped out of school by the time he turned 16. That left a vacuum in his life.
I mean, he would have said if Korn had been put out and around that, he would have just been like a stupid nu metal guy. He's like wearing an AC/DC shirt. He's like, oh yeah, I'm into heavy metal. Hell yeah, hell Satan. AC/DC, highway to hell, y'all. Like, come on, it's so silly.
Drugs rushed to fill it.
I think Ricky was doing drugs as an escape. Anytime that I would see him where he was tripping or he was high, it almost seemed as if he was in his element at that point. Ricky was, you know, drugged out Ricky.
Drugged out
Ricky. His academic life found him wanting, Ricky's home life put pressure on him. His father was strict, and Ricky rebelled against any form of authority. Soon he was not
hell yeah, gasoline boots, left-handed tobacco.
Only using drugs, but selling them as well.
To me, Ricky spiraled out of control. It had to be during 9th grade. He went from a pretty clean-cut guy. Next thing you know, within a year and a half period, he was...
He let Mid change his life? Goddamn, 2-Cup, that's so funny. It was fucking Mid. It fucking was Mid, wasn't it? It was probably some Reggie-ass shit someone was selling him. Really bad. Brick weed. Hard to like break apart, compress down. Bunch of fucking seeds in it. That's what it was.
Long hair, the concert t-shirts, just a whole total new look to himself, and it was quite obvious that he was well into drugs at that point.
Ricky also began to get into trouble with the law.
Shit, exactly, gasoline boots. Like during Red Ribbon Week, they literally brought a fucking case of drugs and showed it to the kids. Hey kids, here's a big fucking case of drugs. Look at it. Fucking look at this shit. It makes you feel good. And people want it because it makes them feel good. Like, what the fuck? If that's not like reverse psychology propaganda, I don't know what is.
Once he was caught stealing skulls from an old Indian cemetery. Some thought it was part of a satanic ritual.
Oh shit! That's what did it. He got possessed by an old Indian spirit, Wendigo shit. You can't be digging up fucking skulls from Indian burial grounds. That's just like, oh my god, come on. It's just everything, everywhere. Every single bit of like literature and lore is like, don't fuck with the Indian burial grounds now. But motherfucker went and did it anyway. That's it. That's what made him like go crazy, kill people, and kill himself.
But in the end, it was just Ricky being Ricky. He would sell them for drug money. Of course, Ricky wouldn't have succeeded if he hadn't found a ready market to peddle his wares.
During school day during the week, around 12, 1 o'clock, kids would start either cutting out of school or they didn't even go to school. They'd end up here. People would come down here, trip out, smoke pot, and just hang out and basically have fun. Normal.
Jim Morrison's pretty fucking stupid. He's a douchebag and just like, hey, I'm writing some songs. I'm real fucking drunk. I'm gonna pull my cock out. I'm gonna get your band, Marty. Just you watch out. Let me pull out my cock. He fucking just kept pulling his cock out. Come on.
People would walk by that are not high, and they gotta say, these kids are on something, you know, because they act like real lunatics sometimes.
One of their favorite spots was the gazebo in...
I'm sure Jimmy's brain damaged. He was hanging out with this motherfucker doing tons and tons of drugs. I'm sure he's got big ass holes in his brain.
The park down by the waterfront.
A lot of the residents sort of objected to the teenage kids hanging out on Main Street. You know, we were under pressure to get rid of them. So we would force them down into the parks.
They figured we were little, you know, the teenager kids and just hanging around town. And I guess in their minds, they'd rather us in plain view out here than in a neighborhood burglarizing houses or something, you know.
While parents went off to their white-collar jobs, their children participated in a parallel and equally thriving economy. The only laws they respected were the laws of supply and demand, and Ricky was the town's chief supplier.
I can remember.
Absolutely, Dade Babbage. You got that Dade Babbage. It happens. It happens to the best of us sometimes. You fucking get something off the Silk Road, you don't know what the fuck you're getting.
A certain instance, we were hanging out at a shopping center, Food Town in Northport, and it was kind of late at night, and Ricky was standing in front of a pizzeria, and I just approached him and said, hey, Ricky, you know, what's going on? What are you doing? He says, oh, geez, I'm so stoned, doing acid. He said, I was taking a leak and the toilet bowl melted. I said, really? He says, what'd you do? He said, I just stuck it in my pants. I said, okay, way to go.
Ricky's parents.
Huge piss stain all over his pants. When the guy walked up to him and talked to him like, Ricky, what's going on, man? I was taking a piss and the toilet bowl melted, so I just shoved it back in my pants. Huge wet spot, like all over him.
Parents tried everything to save their son. They enrolled him in a community drug program. They even committed him to a psychiatric hospital. But nothing seemed to work.
Hell yeah, Donnie Darko. That's what's up. Thanks for hanging out with us. Oh,
By
absolutely,
the spring of
Rusty.
1984, Ricky Kasso's life began to revolve increasingly around drugs. It was around that time that Gary Lauwers allegedly stole some from him at a party, setting in motion a chain of events that would see both of them dead within a month. The night Gary Lauwers was murdered began in typical fashion.
On the night of the murder, it was around 7, 8 o'clock at night, and me and Ricky and Alba were hanging out, and Gary was like on another park bench further down.
LSA laced with something? Possibly. You can get LSA really freaking easy. Hawaiian Baby Wood Rose? Those have more than the Morning Glory. You know, it extracts an alcohol pretty easily.
Already dosing. We all took some acid, and we was tripping already. I felt a little tense between Ricky and Gary. Ricky.
Hell yeah, C13, 2C, whatever it is.
He was being pretty cool about it and took Gary in, and that's why Gary, I guess, came with us. He wasn't forced or coerced into the woods, but we were high, so that was one way we got him into the woods.
The case against Ricky Kasso would have been clear-cut. Shortly after his arrest, he admitted to police that he murdered Gary Lauers.
When we was in the jail cell, that's when he told me that he made a statement, signed a statement on himself and everything, that he did it, that I had nothing to do with it. And I was surprised, you know, that he did all that.
Jimmy had good reason to be surprised, because Ricky was lying, either to the police or to Jimmy. In Ricky's statement, he had related Jimmy's involvement in the slaying.
I was holding him on the ground, and Jimmy kicked him in the ribs.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah for you, the people. You gotta clean up those seeds. And you gotta grind up the Morning Glory seeds and a pepper mill. And don't fucking eat them. Just don't eat all... Don't eat 200 seeds that you've grind up in a pepper mill. You'll get sick as fuck and want to throw up a bunch.
I looked up at Jimmy, and Jimmy indicated to me to cut his throat. I then took out my knife and stabbed Gary. The knife went all the way in. Somehow he got away and ran through the woods. I caught him and brought him back to where the fire was. I dropped my knife when I chased him, and Jimmy Troiano found it. Troiano gave me the knife, and I stabbed Gary in the back and the front a whole bunch of times.
Hell yeah, Bong.
Me and Troiano dragged Gary back into the woods. We started to cover him up with leaves, and he sat up. I bugged out, started to stab him in the face. I didn't count how many times. I'm not really sure. I don't know what I said, but I said a whole bunch of satanic things.
Also, according to the statement, Jimmy prolonged the violence by finding Ricky's knife and handing it back to him. From Ricky's account, Jimmy looked equally guilty. But the statement couldn't be used in court. Shortly after giving it, Ricky Kasso hanged himself, rendering the document useless and inadmissible.
Damn. Though hanging himself is what got the other guy off, essentially. Because if he was still alive, they both probably would have, like, went away for it. But since he killed himself, they couldn't, like, get anything, couldn't use his, like, testimony or confession and all that shit. Then it went to letting the other motherfucker go free.
Ricky wasn't the only one making a confession. In addition to the assorted retellings Jimmy shared...
Hell yeah, Two Cup. And yeah, Jello Putin. It's fucking savage. Just stabbing him in the fucking face. Goddamn face, too.
...with his lawyer, he also made 2 official statements. And true to form, they contradicted each other. To anyone who knew anything about drugs, that wasn't so surprising. After all, there was one thing everyone agreed upon.
Damn, 2C Rick. Shit. And hell yeah, free the people. You gotta go to, like, South America, where they get the, fuck, I can't even remember the name of the vines. Yeah, ayahuasca. The ayahuasca vine and the other, like, shit that's, extracts it from it.
Fun. Before the murder, the boys were high on an enormous quantity of LSD and angel dust. Dangerous drugs on their own. Taken together, they're a recipe for disaster. Nerve cells in the brain which normally talk to each other through a series of electrochemical impulses are interrupted, altering a person's sense of reality.
LSD is a synthetic drug which produces hallucinations as its primary effect. It also does produce psychic effects, such as altered sense of oneself.
Shit, yeah, Shiloh. Didn't he murder his wife, though? He did the whole, like, tell her trick, put the apple on your head, I promise I ain't gonna blow your brains out.
Such as feelings of strangeness, or what we call derealization.
If you're in a bad mood, of course...
Right, gasoline boots? It's like, yeah, you gotta know yourself. You gotta know your fucking self before you, like, try to take copious amounts of drugs.
Would just exacerbate your bad mood. It could make you more tense, more violent, more more to act on what you're fantasizing about, whether it's punching somebody, killing somebody, or just generally being aggressive.
Yeah, exactly, Two Cup. It probably was something like that. That's what they were saying was the angel dust and shit. Or they could have actually had some fucking angel dust. But they were definitely on, like, weird-ass strychnine uppers and, like, low-level, low-grade LSD.
Larger doses would only magnify the effect.
That night, between all of us, we did 30, 40 hits. We done 10 hits.
Goddamn right, Rusty? Yeah, it's like, it depends on you. It depends on yourself. That's all it's gonna bring out from within you is something that's already there within you.
Piece, and we smoked, I don't know, 17 bags of angel dust between the three of us.
Holy fucking shit. Alright, so yeah, there was something. That was definitely something. They're talking about smoking it as opposed to just, you know, taking a tab or something. So yeah, that was probably actually some fucking angel dust, PCP. It makes fucking sense why they went crazy and killed people.
We were high.
Under those circumstances, Jimmy's recollections were bound to be garbled, confused.
And hell yes, Shiloh, absolutely. Emotional and mental problems is just adding to it. It's just like fucking with them. That's why the goddamn shamans and like medicine men who like take that shit, like, to spend like all day doing like a ritual beforehand to like cleanse everything and make sure their mind's right. And like, you know, that's why they like blow smoke on you and fan you and shit, make sure your mind's right and shit.
And contradictory. His first statement said he was only an innocent bystander, but in the second, he admitted holding Gary down while Ricky plunged his knife repeatedly into his victim.
Two Cup, I mean, angel dust is more or less PCP. I'm sure it had like meth like cut in with it, but it in and of itself I'm pretty sure is like PCP for the most part. Because it's like dust of the Hell's Angels, that's where the name comes from.
Knife markings on the body were consistent with an immobilized victim. But Gary could have been unconscious, with no need to hold him down. But we'll never really know. At his trial, Jimmy...
That Sherm? Yeah, it's that Sherm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Lewis.
Troiano exercised his rights as a defendant and chose not to take the stand. Had he testified, his conflicting statements, shifting story, and history of drug use may have worked against him. But his lawyer turned these liabilities into assets. Jimmy was just too far gone to know what he was talking about. Jimmy Troiano...
Oh, hell yeah, Two Cup. Yeah, absolutely.
...walked.
That's like, you know, getting a bad, like, cigarette and shit. That was like a fear back in the day. Like, uh-oh, I smoked a cigarette and it was laced with PCP. I'm going crazy.
But perhaps the most surprising and troubling thing about the murder was the casual attitude of their friends. As many as a dozen of them trekked through the woods to look at Gary's body.
Well, it depends on how long you've been doing the meth there, Mr. Psycho. Because it's just going to keep you from going to sleep, and then the natural insanity from lack of sleep, sleep deprivation insanity starts, like, working its way into it as well.
Here, at last, was something even better than music videos.
They were inside on something very serious, intense. These kids were very bored. They were looking for something, and this was, as it was true, there was a body there. This was real excitement. And as the word spread, nobody really wanted it to go to the police or be the one who went to the police when this was such an inside thing.
Physically, it was the worst crime I've ever seen. The fact that young children, if you will, teenagers, took the life of another. Brutally, not just quick.
Yeah, that's the part that scares me the most. It creeps me out the most. That they took people, they took like younger kids too. Like fucking middle school kids and shit. Like, you want to see a dead body? Like taking people on tours of their crime scene. It's just fucking weird and insane. Like, it's like the least likely thing you think someone would do. But I guess they were that fucked up on drugs that they were just like, yeah, man, let's show them a dead, rotten body. Fucking weird.
Quickly, brutally tortured. And after the body is dead, left it there to rot and to be attacked by nature, animals, and the weather. The fact that they had to be told by visitors to the gravesite that they should have the courtesy.
Oh, hell yeah, click clap. I'll give you a cheer because opiates are fucking bad. When it comes down to it, if you can get off opiates, don't ever do them again. My buddy died last year from fucking fentanyl. And it was shitty because he had been real shitty, real bad, like on fucking drugs and homeless for a little bit. Once I built him a bunker up underneath a bridge, I was like, okay, you're going to be homeless. I want to build you a cool-ass bunker under this bridge you can live in. And he lived in a bridge bunker for a while. And then he was a veteran because he went to South Korea for a while. So they let him stay at, like, the veterans house or some shit. And I was like, okay, yeah, my buddy's doing pretty good. He's at the veterans house now. And then he fucking overdosed on goddamn fentanyl and died there. So I guess he wasn't doing anything better. So yeah, opioids, fuck that shit. That'll kill you so quickly.
To cover the body up. There's no feelings with these people. These people are animals themselves.
And absolutely alpha, yeah. It's really fucking bad. It's definitely almost like a war. I know, like, war on drugs is such a stupid ass term, but it's like warfare to kill people.
It seemed like such an idyllic setting. A seaside community where parents came to raise kids.
Oh, hell yeah, Lewis. Okay. I didn't know. I thought SHRMs were PCP. I always thought that they, like, slang term for PCP was formaldehyde. They just called it formaldehyde and shit, but alright, damn.
Kids in prosperity and safety. So what went wrong? Was Northport an isolated incident, or was this only the beginning of something even bigger? The town of Northport is hard.
Yeah, exactly, Sacco. You gotta, like, watch out for any sort of pills, even if it's not supposed to be an opioid pill, because they just, like, fake press them.
Hardly the kind of place that springs to mind when you think of horrible crimes. The middle and upper class family community of around 8,000 people had only 5 reported homicides in its entire history. Safety was always part of its appeal.
This is Northport. It's a beautiful little seaside village on Long Island, about an hour and a half outside of New York City. And
yeah, goddamn, it's scary, Talia. Yeah, they put it with everything. It's fucking scary.
Being miles away from their problems, or so we thought.
In this bedroom community of New York, parents would leave for the city each morning, letting their children fend for themselves, believing they were safe from corrupting
Shit, Word 69, really? No one ever talks about it? Damn, I feel like it would, be like, have some sort of a draw, people coming to it. People go to goddamn, like, Amityville Horror House and shit. I feel like, this would have some sort of draw for, like, the morbid, dark tourist.
Influences.
Hey, Donna Shore.
Ricky Kasso grew up in what would seem to be the prototypically ideal American suburban home.
Oh, hell yeah, Rusty. Absolutely, Sacco.
His father was a teacher at a local school. He was also a football coach. His mother was very concerned. And he lived in very much a supportive type of community with good schools, everything that a kid could desire. And I guess the whole tragedy was compounded by this gnawing question about how could something so bad happen from something so seemingly good.
Yeah, Mr. Sacco, exactly. Stepping on drugs, that's worse than just like selling the drugs, because people want what they want. But to trick people in giving them something that's not good and it's kind of deadly most of the time. That's real shitty. Like poisoning the supply or whatnot.
Many of the kids didn't find it so good. They didn't care for big houses or big jobs. They were searching for something else. They needed some excitement.
Oh, hell yeah, bong farter. 16-year-old trash kids idolize Ricky. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But I just feel like, I don't know. People go to everything. People will go see, like, any fucking shit, really, when it comes down to it. So, I just feel like that was another one of the things. But maybe he's not as, in the cultural zeitgeist consciousness as some of the other, like, mainstays.
It was very much what we would picture suburbia to be. A lot of middle to upper class white kids hanging out, looking for something to do. Basically bored with school, bored with their life, frustrated.
Oh, absolutely, click-clack, yeah. The poison alcohol that the government made during Prohibition. I always felt like that's what street trash was supposed to be. That, like, Viper that they're drinking in street trash. I always thought that was supposed to be, like, government-poisoned alcohol. But I don't know. I think it's from the 50s, so it's not even supposed to be that old.
With their parents. Pretty much the same issues any teenager would have.
If kids were getting into trouble, many parents weren't around to know about it.
Yeah, it just seemed that a lot of times kids were left and they'd come home from school and there wouldn't be anybody there.
Oh, scopolamine? Scopolamine is just stuff will appear right there in front of you. There's like an analog of scopolamine that you can buy over the counter called Dramamine for motion sickness. And if you take too many Dramamine pills, it'll act the same way that scopolamine does. And you might see a lizard man looking at you through the window, like turning his head and looking at you. But then you might be like, oh man, I saw a lizard man, all right. And then everything else turned into like stupid, like elephants running the wall patterns, like stupid ass Yellow Submarine bullshit just because the lizard man scared you, but you got excited because you got scared. Like, yes, everybody said that they would see like monsters and shit. I want to see monsters. But then, you just get so excited that you see a monster that you never see any other monsters. That could possibly happen.
Kids were left to experiment on their own. A drug culture evolved in Northport's junior high school.
The drugs really represented what was the excitement, the real sport, what was going on at the time. School was not cool.
Oh, hell yeah. I've found plenty of thorn apples. I only find them maybe once every 2 years growing. It's not like a every year thing, but I'll find them once every 2 years growing around here.
Cool sports were not cool. Academic clubs weren't very cool at all. But taking drugs and taking these trips and getting wasted was pretty much the mark of achievement at the time.
That's what I'm saying, click-clack. Yeah. Like, the government used to poison alcohol, so, why wouldn't they be poisoning other shit nowadays?
In this respect, Ricky Kasso was an overachiever. But when drugs weren't enough, he chose Satan. When Satan wasn't enough, he chose murder. And even Jimmy Troiano, who was there that night, doesn't really know why it happened.
For some reason, they use a wildcat scream. Yeah, they totally put a wildcat scream in there.
For some reason, if I asked Ricky to go do a burglary, he would not do no crime. But then again, he'd commit a murder and then go tell 13, 14 people. I mean, it would baffle anyone.
Exactly, Sacco.
It baffles me why he did do that.
Ricky's reasons will never be known. But whatever his motivations, he wasn't alone. In the years following the Northport incident, more reports of gruesome teen murderers cropped up in suburbs across the country. In 1996, 14-year-old Barry Lukatis walked into his...
Goddamn, Burger Boy, right? Holy shit. And yeah, Angel Trumpets won. I mean, so was like Belladonna, Datora, Monk's Hood. I think Monk's Hood. Potatoes, tomatoes, and eggplants used to contain it, but the natives in like America bred that shit out so they would have something to eat.
His algebra class and killed 3 people with a hunting rifle. 1 year later, 16-year-old Luke Woodham murdered 3 people, including his mother and ex-girlfriend. In 1997, 11-year-old Nathaniel Abraham became one of the nation's youngest murder defendants when he was charged with shooting an 18-year-old with a .22 caliber rifle. And in 1999, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold opened fire on their suburban Colorado high school, killing 13 people before turning their guns on themselves.
I wasn't expecting them to mention Columbine in this. And then that little kid, God, in our state, we executed the youngest person in the electric chair. We were like, hey, you want some ice cream? Hi, eat this ice cream and confess to these murders. And then we fucking executed him, electrocuted him.
Most of these killers came from loving homes, affluent communities, good schools.
And if you look beneath the surface of those early killings, these were kids who just had a lot of anger at home. They were kind of disregarded and ignored. And
oh my God, free the people. No, I never took any triple C's, but it was a thing at my fucking high school that people started like doing triple C's, like in class and stuff, like at the beginning of the day, like, oh, let's eat these triple C's and trip out all day during class. And that's how Bradley got addicted to them. This like younger dude that I knew who was like grades below us got Bradley to start eating triple C's, and he got fucking addicted to them. And to this day, he has like packs that he cuts open with scissors, just empty packs in his house. I'm sure in his house now. They used to be in his car before he wrecked his car, probably high on triple C's. Like, it would just be packs and packs everywhere, cut open with a scissor right down through the middle.
different circumstances in each case, but an underlying theme of neglected kids, socially neglected kids, marginalized kids. It was no longer something we could attribute to poverty or race. It was just a general malaise and miscontent.
Today, almost 2 decades after the murder of Gary Lauwers, Northport has healed its wounds and is again a quiet, sleepy town on the shores of Long Island.
Hell yeah, aware. One time I did do a extraction of DXM from cough medicine, Robitussin. I didn't want to drink all that syrup and shit, and I did an extraction just because I wanted to play around with chemistry and whatnot. I parachuted all that stuff down, and it was weird. I was watching Deadly Women, and I just like fucking forgot what I was doing, and I started crying because I thought I was killing the people. I thought I was killing all these people, or I was the people getting killed and shit. So I started crying real hard, like bawling my eyes out. My friend came out of his room. He was like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you crying? And I was just like, I killed all those people. I killed them. Like bawling. And he's like, dude, you're watching a TV show. I'm like, what? He's like, motherfucker, you're watching a goddamn TV show. You didn't do anything. You've been in here like crying your eyes out. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's about all I remember from it, is that I just like disassociated so hard that I forgot what I was doing, and the TV, that's all that existed, was the TV in front of me and the shit that I was watching. And I thought that I got murdered and also simultaneously murdered everybody.
The teenagers of 1984 are adults with children of their own. Jimmy Troiano has an infant son.
Hell yeah, Shiloh. That's what's up.
James Troiano Jr.
It was something that happened. I mean, it was a bad thing, but life goes on. I mean, and I hope if you ever come to the same situation.
Oh, hell yeah, click clack. Hey, well, that one's a good one, you know. Bruce Willis, he saved him, so, you know.
Think, just think before you react to anything. And if you don't have drugs in your head, you'll think a little clearer.
Hell yeah, 2 Cup. That's what I'm talking about, them triple C's. Or Skittles. Sometimes motherfuckers would call them Skittles. And I was just like, oh my god. What are you talking about? You talking about triple C's? You talking about actual fucking Skittles? Because I got some candy. I got some candy here, but I ain't got none of that fucking other shit.
Today, nearly 80% of all teenage deaths are the result of some sort of violence. In the last 30 years, teenage homicides have increased by 300%. And the trend is
Oh, goddamn, SH. Yeah, don't drive on the shit for sure.
continuing. When kids kill kids, it's easy to blame drugs, rock and roll, or even the devil himself. But those who lived in Northport in the summer of 1984 know full well that even the tidiest of suburbs can be a place where evil dwells.
Uh-oh, dun dun dun. Shit, I didn't want to replay it. Alright. Motherfucker gets to have a son. This motherfucker right here, Jimmy, gets to have a son, live free out of jail, when he fucking helped murder and bury a body. Because he had rich-ass parents. When it comes down to it, that's all it really matters. Dude had rich-ass parents. They bought him a lawyer, and the lawyer was able to get him off scot-free. And he has the you know, privilege of being able to father a child when they murdered a motherfucker. What in the world? Anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out and watching this one with me. Absolutely click-clack. Yeah, like when you're younger and shit, you know, it's just something to do, figure it out. But when you get older, like, damn, it's not really worth it anymore. But thanks everybody. Bong Farter, 2 Cup, Lewis, C13, Mr. Sacco, Click Clack, Free the People, Shiloh, Talia, Vaticus, Ledgeview, 2 Cup, lost my place, Local Cooking, Pulfer, Moshe, Bank Leaks, oh yeah, okay, now I just see where people are asking what are triple C's. That's the Coracine shit. People used to call them, because Coracine, cough, cold, had 3 C's on it. Aware, Rusty, JDA, Word 69, Burger Boy, SWF, Thy, Shawnee Kids, Dinosaur, Rusty Bandana. So I just noticed that Rusty and Rusty Bandana wasn't here, so I had to differentiate. Sam Taylor, Alpha Hunters, Obadiah, Bossmeth Christie, Broadside, Quantum Cat, Gasoline Boots, Jello Putin, Apothecary John, Chunky, Zombie Death, Pickles. And then a special thanks to Burger Boy for the membership, Sparky2 Ben for subscribing, and Pickles Aplenty for subscribing. Thanks everybody. Hell yeah. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. And don't get involved with any PCP acid cults or whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Just a bunch of dumbass kids. Had no like actual occult undertones whatsoever. Just drug addict kids. Anyways, I'll see you guys.